Hey guys, Warmonger here. Today I'm going to do my classic, tried and true, rambling over live Minecraft footage. Not live, but I'm actively playing. Oh, great. Incredible. No, okay. Great start already. Absolutely fantastic start to this. Right, so because of that being on the powdered snow, I'm not going to break that like I normally would. First thing on the agenda, getting out of the snow. I'm not even going to entertain this biome. Okay, maybe I'll entertain it for a little bit. Right. So I've been away from this for a little bit. I don't actually remember when the last time I uploaded anything was. Off the top of my head. Oh, it's underwater. That's cool. But I once again am going to make a half-assed empty promise to continue to do this again and maybe keep up with it for a little bit and then practically drop off the face of the earth again. I'm really not sure what that noise is. I've heard it like twice now. Where was I going? Was it up this way? No, definitely not. Where did I see... Ow. That big fuck-off mountain. Yeah, this way. Okay. Oh, that's not a sheep. That's a polar bear. Okay. So yeah, gonna give this whole thing a shot again while I ramble about God knows what. Maybe I'll even say something motivational or inspiring. Yeah, wouldn't that be something? Bit of good, but technically unsolicited life advice. Unless you clicked on... Oh, that's nice. Unless you clicked on this looking at the title, then it's not unsolicited. But well, let's see. What is a good advice that people seek? As well, I mean, everybody's different, right? We've all got our differences that make us, well, us. But at the same time, we're the same species. So we've got a lot of similarities. And not to get paradoxical, but one of our similarities is our differences. In that you can reliably predict human unpredictability. Unpredictability? Unpredictability? Whatever. One of those two is correct. I may not do the word'em good'em, but I still get the point across. Eventually. Apple. But, yeah, human unpredictability, I'll go with that one, is ironically very predictable. So we look at like psychologists and other people that study the human mind. Actually, I think psychologists are the only ones technically. But you look at those people and it's like, well, how everybody's different, how do they come up with those things? And it's that same answer of unpredictability is predictable. You can't predict what unpredictable thing somebody's going to do. That's a weird noise. But you can predict that they'll do something unpredictable. That's a village in a very, very terrible spot. Okay. We're gonna go have a look-see at that. Carefully. I'm gonna kill a cow. Okay, now we'll go carefully. Ouch. So, purpose. About purpose. We'll talk about purpose. And by we, I mean me, and you're going to listen. Or not listen. You could ignore what I say and just watch the gameplay, just like turn off the sound and just watch. Or you could just put me on in the background. I'll sit here in your background. Just pour me like a glass of water, would you? Kindly, thank you. Or if you're like having a snack, throw like a potato chip this way. Really nice. I haven't had a good chip in a while. But purpose, right? We all, in some form or fashion, at some point in our lives, we begin to ask ourselves, what is our purpose? Why am I here? I'm on this earth, this planet, and I didn't ask to be. So there must be a reason as to why I'm here. I don't know why I thought I could make that jump. I'm not that guy. There must be a reason as to why I'm here, since I didn't ask to be, but I am here. Ouch. Well, first, what I'll say to that is that thought does automatically imply that there is some sort of grand reason, which is a different topic that we'll not talk about. That is a witch. It's not good. Because that is a different topic. But today we're going to go on the automatic assumption. Okay. We're going to go on the automatic assumption that there is some sort of purpose. Okay. I don't know why I thought I'd be able to do that. Yo, get him. No? Not gonna... There you go. Good job, pal. Sorry, pal. Bye. Oops. Need that. We're gonna go ahead on the assumption that there is a grand purpose. Well, not a grand purpose, but there is an implied reason for us being here. Right? That's what we'll go ahead and make the assumption of for the sake of discussion. Not gonna delve into, who, what, when, where, why, how, any of that. Just, there is a reason for our existence. That's what we'll assume. Now, with that, the majority of us do not, well, we don't know our purpose. We don't hear anything, we don't see anything, nobody tells us our purpose. Right? And I'm right there in that boat. If I have a purpose, beats me as to what it is. Nobody's told me. Haven't heard anything. Don't even know if I'm supposed to hear anything. So, what do I do? And if you're in that same boat, what do you do? Well, tell you what I do. Instead of, and now this isn't meant to, mock anybody for what they do or don't do. What they do or don't do. That's interesting wording. Anyway, not to mock or ridicule anybody for their actions or inactions or whatever that may be. But my method pressed the wrong button, that's why that didn't work. My method... Sorry, I got distracted on what I wanted to do with those items. My method is that I will... Well, not will, but I've already done it, technically. Instead of waiting for someone to tell me what my purpose is, right? To come along and say, hey, warmonger, this is what you're supposed to do in life. You know, this is the reason that you were brought here. The reason you're put on this earth is to do yada yada yada. Instead of waiting for that, what I've chosen to do is go out and find it. Right? Now, my reasoning for that, justification, reasoning, whatever you want to call it, for doing it that way, is if we've been, put here for a reason, then it could be implied that we should, on some sort of level, have an understanding of our purpose. We may not know it in our conscious mind, but, you get like a gut feeling deep down, right? It's like, I feel it, So, you find something that feels purposeful, and it feels right to you. Because we are all different. Remember. So, your purpose may very well not be what somebody else would tell you your purpose is. Right? Like somebody's like, oh, like some relatives, right? Are like, oh, you're meant to, follow in your mother's footsteps, your father's footsteps, or whoever, right? But they don't know that. That might not be your purpose at all. Good. So, you follow in those footsteps and it feels right, then that could be your purpose. But that is for you to decide, not anybody else. That's the key. Your purpose that you find is to be found by you, not someone else. Hell, not me even. I can't tell you what your purpose is. I can sit here playing my little block game and tell you how to start looking for it, as I have. But that's all I can do. I can't go, hey, Mikey, you're supposed to be a firefighter, like your dad was. I can't say that for you. Only you can. So, Mikey, if you're out there and you're like, well, my father was a firefighter, so I feel I have to be one too. You don't have to. You could. If it feels right, that just very well may be your purpose. To be a firefighter, just like your dad. But if it don't feel right, maybe that's not what you're supposed to be. No, I'm taking that. Who am I kidding? Of course I'm stealing the brewing stand. Oh, that ain't good. Why would you go back into the powdered snow? Wow, okay. But yeah, I am not able to tell you exactly what you're supposed to do with your life. Only how to maybe start looking for it. Even then, that's not a guarantee. That's not a complete surefire, yes, that is how you will find the answer. Guaranteed. No. That is just what I have done. And again, calling back to earlier, people are different. Different people do things differently. So, the way I've done it, and what I've said, might not work for you. But it might. You never know until you try to look for that. As for my purpose, right? That way I'm not just seeming like I'm completely talking out of my ass here. You know, as I said, I did, you know, things that felt right. And I started doing that by, well, helping people. Not necessarily help in the traditional sense. Okay, well, I'm down here too. Okay. Alright, not exactly helping in the traditional sense of like, oh, I'm gonna do this, that, and the other. But, what am I dropped that. You all saw me drop that. Okay then. But helping people by talking to them, right? Well, more they talked to me and I talked back. And ended up helping people with some, you know, their, you know, minor problems. Or maybe big problems. I said minor problems, but that was, I misspoke. Because you can't really judge the size of somebody else's problems. What seems like a minor problem to me might be life-altering to you. And vice versa. Like, wow, I've really got just a bunch of garbage in here. I'm suffering from not having a place to put my head down syndrome. And I need to cure that by finding a place to put my head down. But a nice example of that, I think, could be people's health problems, right? Or health, people's mental problems, actually. Yeah, we'll go with mental problems, because that one's a bit less on the nose, because a health problem could be right on the nose, like, okay, yeah, you have a health problem and it causes problems that are very evident. Mental health is less seen, so we'll go with that as an example. Well, not an official full-on diagnosis, but basically one. Back when I was, a child growing up, not growing up yet, but, going to the pediatrician. My pediatrician, I don't remember the dude's name, because I was, like, developmental years, so the people that existed back then were just people. Alright, look, guy, come on. A little busy here. People back then were just people that existed in, my life. Didn't really know them by name. But anyway, he's, seeing me and all that, the pediatric visits and whatnot. And he says to my mother, technically he's too young, well, too young for back then, to run any, autism tests, but he checks off every box of having it. So expect, that outcome once he starts getting out of these developmental years, as he checks off all of the boxes for it. Time went on, never got an actual diagnosis, but, everything lines up, Specifically, the, what's it called? What do they call it? What do they call it again? Ouch. That hurts. Asperger's, I remember that one. The autism brand that they suddenly decided one day wasn't one. Which is a little strange, considering that those people didn't change in any way. They just magically decided, actually, that's not real. And it's like, I'm sorry, who are you to decide that? Like, it's really a bunch of garbage. It's not, I say garbage, it's stuff I need. Let's leave those. Right. Because, for me, that whole kit and caboodle still, gives me problems. It causes problems. Right, like in social settings and all that, I still, ooh. Oh, excuse me. Ugh. Not suffer. I was gonna say suffer. Suffer doesn't sound like the right word, because it's not super debilitating all the time in any way. But it's, simply put, it's difficult, and it makes my life difficult. Makes my day-to-day difficult. A lot. Like, phone calls. Even to people I know, I absolutely hate phone calls. I cannot make a phone call to save my life. Only slight exaggeration, but pretty much. I am reluctant to answer the phone and my own mother calls. And it has nothing to do with anything negative about my mother. It's just I do not like phone calls. So, in a modern day and age where everything relies on phones, you can very quickly see how hard that becomes. I, try to look for a job, right? Try to get some sort of job. I like doing phone calls. So, how the hell am I supposed to do a job? And I especially don't answer the phone if I don't recognize the number, because, that was ingrained into us 2000s kids and 90s kids. If you do not recognize the number, you do not answer the phone. So, I don't recognize the number, I'm not answering the damn phone. I can't sprint anymore, right? Let me eat something. Just not sprint. So that provides challenges. Challenges that other people, that don't have that even remotely as a problem would say, oh, just suck it up, just get over it. Because they don't have that problem. They never have had that problem, and they likely never will have that problem. So they can't understand when somebody has that problem. Which I think it's wrong. You shouldn't just negate somebody's problems because you personally don't experience that problem. And that's a thing we see a lot in life, right? People, going like, oh, your suffering doesn't mean as much because somebody else is, like, dying. And it's like, well, that's terrible and all, but that doesn't mean my problem is any less just because I'm not actively kicking the bucket. It's a little wrong to say. I think I'm going to live in the mountain. As always, just dig into the side of the mountain. Loot this later once I put all my stuff away. Ooh, more iron berries. Those are good. Ah, it's a cave. I didn't want to do that. Ooh, I'll go up here. Perfect. Perfect, and it's already carved out. Okay. So, yeah. Back to the original point, if I can remember it. Different people are different. So, there isn't, no matter what people will try to tell you, there isn't any one-size-fits-all solution to people's problems. And anybody that tells you otherwise is lying to you. But that doesn't mean, though, automatically discredit their advice, because their advice worked for them. So People can only give advice based off of their experience and what they know. Which is what I try to do when I help people and give them advice. I give them my perspective on how to look at things. You know, a different, fresh way of looking at things apart from how they used to, or how they look at things. Sometimes I find, and again, this is only based on what I've experienced, sometimes people just need a fresh way of looking at things, a fresh perspective. And there are also plenty of people that have taken my perspective and my way of looking at things and gone with it, right? They've looked at the way I look at things like, wow, that's a good way of looking at things. And so they go along with it. They go with my way of looking at things. So, as for my purpose, that's what I try to do. I try to give people a perspective, an uncommon perspective, these days. Because people are too caught up in their mental games, right? And all these hoops and tricks and things to, you know, play around and jump through, all these mind games, right? Like, you try to form bonds and connections with people now, and it's a sham. It's all this stupid song and dance, and you know, nobody wants to actually connect with anybody because they're afraid to. Because all the popular stuff, all the popular crap tells them not to do it, right? Don't talk to people. And sure, there's some good advice in there about, you know, being wary of strangers. But, you know, somewhere along the way that changed from be wary of strangers to don't talk to anybody at all ever. And that's a problem. Because if nobody talks to anybody anymore, how do you meet new people? How do you make connections? Right? Humans, even those of us that like our solitude, right? Talking to some of y'all out there that, you know, would much prefer, you know, always say, and I say it too, I would much rather be alone with my thoughts. More often than not. And I get that. I'm right there with you. But not all the time. Humans are social creatures at the end of the day. We are social creatures, creatures of habit. And as much as we try to push people away or brush them off or whatever have you, we need people. We need each other. Not you and I specifically. I don't know you, or if I do know you, then yeah, we do need each other. Specifically, if we've already got that connection. And hell, actually, you know what? Even if we don't know each other, maybe we do. Maybe we do need that. We don't know. But with how people do things in this day and age, people are too afraid to find out. You get all this crap on, you know, on the internet, talking about how, oh, Like, oh, this is a social no-no. This is a red flag, and it's like, where do these people get that basis, right? That's what I start thinking about immediately. As soon as I see some person posting online about like, oh, this is a red flag, I start to think and wonder where are they basing that off of? Just their personal experience that doesn't speak for everybody in the world? Because that's sure as shit what it seems like to me. And now, sure, the advice I'm giving, am I basing it off of solely the things I've observed in the world? Sure. Absolutely. I'm talking my head off about things, about a perspective that I have based solely on how I act in the world and how I react to the world. But the difference is, I'm not preaching it as gospel and as the absolute truth. There aren't very many absolute truths in existence. The only absolute truths are, well, the ones that are very blatantly to see, like people live and people die, right? Life and death. That is an absolute truth. Me getting startled by that creeper, that's an absolute truth. It happened. It absolutely happened. I got startled by that. That one was a joke, kind of. That did startle me, though. I did not even see it coming. Damn. Anyway, absolute truths. Far and few in between. But these people that come online talking about, this is a red flag. This is a red flag. That's a red flag. This, that, and the other. They're preaching them as absolute truths. So we go online, we see this person getting in front of this camera, getting all these views, talking about how, talking about your life, right? Like sharing things that happen in your life. That's trauma dumping. That's oversharing. And they just make a general statement and preach it as absolute truth. Sharing details about your life and oversharing and trauma dumping aren't the same thing, but because these people don't explain any differences, we automatically start assuming that, oh, this person's clearly talking about sharing interests and all that. I can't do that. I meet somebody new and I gotta be all mysterious and nonchalant, or whatever the cool kids do these days. So, nobody out there is being genuine. Because we're all learning that genuine is wrong. And for those of us out there, like me and a couple others like me, we say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to be genuine anyway. What happens is we're outcast. We're looked at like we're strange, we're wrong, because we're a walking red flag, because we're doing the thing that the internet person said is a red flag and made a general statement about. So that must mean we are a red flag and thus must be avoided. So we get avoided. And then look how that turns out for us. Not very good. Oh, I didn't realize that was 2 blocks tall. Oops. Standing here jumping backwards like an idiot. Like, why can't I move? But being genuine gets frowned upon if your genuine isn't the prim, proper, perfect brand that they want it to be, that they want you to be. So, a lot of people, you know, like I said, stop being... That's horrifying. That is horrifying. I don't like that cave sound. That... Wow. I didn't accidentally install a horror mod in this crap, did I? No. You gotta pay money for horror mods. I didn't do it. No. Ooh. Anyway. So some of us, you know, stop trying to be genuine. Because we're afraid. And it's fine to be afraid. But I think we should stop. Not stop being afraid, but stop listening to those people, I think. Be genuine. Now, a lot of advice things say like, oh, be yourself, but they don't really, they don't describe what that means. They're like, yeah, be yourself. But some people, go like, what does being yourself mean? And what I'll tell you calls back to what I said about finding your own purpose. What does being yourself mean? Define it for yourself. Don't let somebody else tell you what being yourself means. You decide who yourself is. So with that, purpose, right? The main topic, purpose. If you're feeling like you have, you're trying to look for your purpose, start doing things. Start doing things that feel like you. What you feel is right. And if it's wrong, then okay, it's wrong. But you know what? You can do something else. Like me, with my, trying to help people and help them with their troubles. If that didn't feel right to me when I did it, I would have stopped and looked to do something else. That's what I'll say to do. It's what I'll recommend you try. And if it doesn't work out, if it just keeps dragging on, and you feel like you still can't get your purpose, well, maybe keep going for it again. Just a bit more. Just don't overdo it. Don't feel like you have to find your purpose. You might go through your life without ever knowing it until you do it. That may be what's meant for you. I can't say for sure. I can't tell you that. It's just one of those things in life that you gotta find. We have to find as we go. I forget who sings it, but there's this country song
yeah, sue me, country music. It was what was on the local radio stations growing up. So that's what I listened to. But there's a song. I think the title is the same as the main verse, the main line of the chorus that's saying. But life's a dance you learn as you go. Sometimes you lead, sometimes you follow. Right? So we don't have all the answers. So we just go. Just gotta keep going. And sometimes you lead, sometimes you follow. Sometimes you end up like me and trying to lead others. Or at least lead them in a direction where maybe they can lead themselves, right? Just like dancing with somebody. You take the lead in a dance, you're not straight up just commanding them where to go. You're sort of guiding them. You're dancing with them, you're not dancing for them, right? And we learn that as we go. You teach somebody to dance, you dance with them, right? You're not just telling them, this is how you dance. You dance with them. And then they learn. Maybe. Or they don't. It's all up in the air when it comes to that. And we just gotta find it. I think with that, though, I've been rambling on this topic long enough. I might pick up right where I left off, maybe with something else, or maybe even a continuation somewhat. I haven't decided yet. So, yeah, I've been Warmonger. I will still be. If you've stayed this long, thank you for staying here and listening to a guy ramble on about advice for however long it's been. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye.